Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd. I hope everyone is off to a great start to their week so far. In this video, we'll be discussing both the first and second stimulus checks, the $1,000 EIDL grant, free money, and then we'll also be discussing the $4,000 travel credit, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, giving me a big thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other people like you, and hopefully helping other people like you. In addition to that, leave a comment in the comment section below, letting me know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment yet or not. It just creates a good dialogue, and it lets other people know that haven't yet received their first stimulus payment that, yeah, unfortunately, there are still many other people out there that haven't received their first stimulus payment, and that they are definitely not alone. Okay, so let's begin this video by quickly touching base on the first stimulus checks. Again, sadly, as mentioned before, there are still millions of people that haven't even received their first stimulus checks. If you still haven't received your first stimulus payment, no worries. I know it's incredibly frustrating, but they are sending out these stimulus checks every single week in batches and waves, so they will definitely get to you. Now, the best resource you have at this point in time is to Get My Payment Portal, and I know you probably already checked it and you're still getting payment status not available and it's not working for you. I totally get that. It's completely frustrating. You've been waiting several months now and you're still getting payment status not available, and you're just ready to give up on the payment portal. And that is totally understandable. However, just know that just because you're getting that status, it just means that you have not yet been scheduled a delivery date. So they will eventually get to you. And like I did mention before, if you haven't yet tried, you can try typing your physical street address in all capital letters. Sometimes that can help fetch a date, but otherwise, most likely it means they just have not yet scheduled a delivery date. And remember, as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax returns, and as long as you don't have something like past due child support that could potentially offset your stimulus payment, you're definitely eligible. So in the meantime, just hang in there. You will eventually receive a date. Also, the next set of payments are set to go out tomorrow, Wednesday, June 24th. So if you haven't checked the payment portal in the past few days, I would encourage you to do so. You may also have a date of the 24th as well. All right, moving right along to the second stimulus checks. So as you probably saw all over the news, Donald Trump did recently have one of his rallies in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And of course, he ended up drawing many criticisms. Now, the first and biggest thing that he ended up getting criticized for was suggesting that we test fewer people for the virus. Since cases for the virus continue to rise day by day, he simply suggested that maybe if we just didn't test as much, then the virus wouldn't continue to rise. Now, most likely he was joking, or at least you would hope that he was joking, sort of like the bleach comment that he made. But obviously he drew a lot of criticism from those comments. One other thing that people were critical about in his speech is that he didn't once bring up talk about these second stimulus payments. He obviously talked a lot about his upcoming opponent, Joe Biden, and of course the economy itself, but he didn't once touch base on second stimulus checks. And honestly, that really doesn't worry me too much. I like to think of Trump's rallies as more like a show. He knows what his base is after, and he's only going to talk about the main points that his base is really going to get rallied up about. So whether you like Donald Trump or not, he's only going to speak about the topics he knows the people at his rallies are going to get most excited about. And in this case, as far as stimulus payments go, perhaps it just did not make his list of things to talk about. As a side note, I do want to make things perfectly clear that I don't see every single presidential candidate as either good or bad. I try to see both the good and bad in each presidential candidate. I definitely wouldn't consider myself 100% on the left, and I definitely wouldn't consider myself 100% on the right. I try to see both sides of each political argument and then make the best judgment for myself from there. So as I said, I still feel very, very confident in us receiving second stimulus checks. Second stimulus checks are still very bipartisan at this point. And also being that it is an election year, I think Trump will know that sending second stimulus checks out will be very important in terms of getting himself reelected. So it will be a very political move, I think. Now, I'm also not saying that we wouldn't receive second stimulus payments if it wasn't an election year, but I think this will definitely play a factor. Of course, I would say that Trump's chances of getting reelected mostly depend on how well the economy bounces back and how well we're able to get the virus under control. And of course, both of those kind of go hand in hand in a way. Finally, I will say that if you do want to make your voice heard on how important receiving an additional stimulus payment would be to you, then I would recommend calling your U.S. state senator, and you can call them at this number that's up on the screen, and that's 202-224-3121. And I would strongly encourage everyone to call that number. Let them know what your thoughts are. Remember, you have the power here. Okay, so at this point, I just wanted to touch base real quickly on the $1,000 EIDL grant. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, if you have any type of side hustle, no matter how small or big it is, you don't have to have a local coffee shop. You can be simply selling items on eBay out of your closet, very much part-time, just a couple of hours a week, and you would qualify for this $1,000 EIDL grant. Now, this money is supposed to be used for employee paid sick leave, increased cost to obtain materials, rent or mortgage payments, and or repaying obligations that cannot be met due to revenue losses. So let's say that even if you do not have employees, or maybe you don't have any type of office space for your eBay store, that's completely fine. Maybe you just lost out on some revenue because people weren't buying your items in your eBay store as much, or maybe you weren't able to go out and buy items at thrift stores to resell on eBay as much because stores were closed down. In this case, you would qualify for the loan. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, I would just apply, because the worst thing that can happen is they can just deny you. You're not gonna get punished for applying and not being accepted for it. And remember, this doesn't have to be any type of large scale business. You could be simply driving Uber part-time, maybe like 1 or 2 hours per week, and you would qualify. So if you have any type of side hustle, just apply. It's $1,000, it's free money. It could really help you and or your business out. Just apply, you have nothing to lose here. All right, so now I wanted to talk real quickly about the $4,000 Explore America tax credit. And this is basically what Trump is proposing that's going to be in the next bill, where we can all basically kind of get paid in the way, but instead of actually getting paid a check, it would be in the form of a tax credit for going on vacation. And I've seen a lot of people comment in the comment section below questioning why this is even being considered, like who is actually going to be traveling or going on vacation either during or even after a pandemic. Well, the main point of this provision, in my opinion at least, is kind of to help out those hard-hit industries such as hotels and airlines. This is simply by encouraging people to spend their money by going on vacation and using services such as airlines or staying in hotels. Now, by encouraging people to actually spend their money in the economy and putting their money back in the economy by using their money on things such as airlines or going to restaurants, it actually helps out the economy a lot more than just having Americans pay off their bills. Now, whether or not you think that is a good thing is simply your opinion. In my opinion, personally, I think each situation kind of varies. So for example, for one person, they might need all of the stimulus money they can possibly get to help pay off their bills and keep food on the table because they lost their income because of this pandemic. The government was saying, okay, because this pandemic is going on, you are no longer able to have your business, you're no longer able to go to work. So for some people, it would be kind of silly going on vacation when they don't even have money to pay their bills or keep food on the table. Now, on the other hand, you have other people who have a huge stockpile of money, and money is really no object to them. So having this additional provision in the bill that states they're going to get paid a tax credit for going on vacation, I mean, that's kind of like the coolest thing ever for them. So again, it really just depends which side you're on here. But the main thing here is Trump is trying to encourage Americans to spend their money in the economy while at the same time helping out those hard-hit industries such as airlines, hotels, and restaurants. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any additional comments or questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many comments and questions as I possibly can. And those comments and questions that I'm not able to get to, I do try to pick some of the best ones and answer them in the next video in video form. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video. And that comment is coming from Sherry. Sherry says, I'm a new subscriber. Please help. I don't work and I don't get SSI or Social Security. I had to fill out the non-filers tool on the 18th. When will I get my check? All right, Sherry, thank you so much for that comment, and I'm so glad that you went through and did the non-filers tool. Since you don't usually file a tax return, that's something you definitely had to do. Now, 2 weeks from the 18th, you should be able to go into the payment portal, and you should be able to actually upload your direct deposit information for your bank account if you wish to have your stimulus payment directly deposited, which I would recommend because it will be much quicker. If you do not have a bank account or you just want the stimulus payment mailed to you, that's also fine. You can also select that option as well, or just leave the bank account information blank and they'll be mailing you the check instead. But once again, I would recommend that you upload your direct deposit information because that will be much quicker. But you did everything right. At this point, you just have to wait to go into the payment portal, and the payment portal should be updated within 2 weeks. All right, so the next comment today is from Capt. Capt says, hi Josh, my question is the following. IRS sent my check to New York even though I live in Massachusetts. I called the IRS and they said that I will receive my payment before July 13th. Why is it that the portal keeps saying the information is not correct after I told them I was on SSI with direct deposit? Please help. All right, thank you so much for that comment. So if you did previously live in New York and you set up a mail forwarding service through the US Post Office, they should actually be forwarding that mail from your previous New York address over to your Massachusetts address. So I would expect you to receive that check. And if you've never even lived in New York and they just had a wrong address on file for whatever reason, and that check will actually get sent back to the IRS. So at this point in time, you should be able to go back into the payment portal and upload your direct deposit information. Now, you did mention that whenever you try to go into the payment portal, it says that your information is not correct. Now, my guess is they probably have your New York address on file. So if you previously did live in New York, I would try typing your address that you lived in New York, and it should work at that point. And if you never lived in New York, then you'll need to call the IRS. And the EIP hotline you can call is 1-800-919-9835, and you should be able to change your address by talking to an IRS agent. And at that point, you'll be able to log into the payment portal and upload your direct deposit information, and then they should be able to directly deposit your stimulus payment into your bank account, which will be much faster anyways. All right, so on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you guys did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it would be a great support to my channel. So until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.